this Texas spoon tapper who manages
Aye.
to beat Mark Kerr or Julie. And before we even go live, this spoon. What is a Texas spoon tapper anyway? Is that one of those guys that talks gibberish and does that with the spoons?
Justin, I don't know. I have no idea who he is, but he's obviously a big fan of yours.
Aye, well, I'm ready to hunt him down, like the running man, whoever he is.
No, he's one of our watchers. Anyway,
who's that above you?
This is Graham and Serena, who are going to join us about a new and exciting Scottish whisky festival that is going to be taking place in April. And after the news, we're going to find out all about it.
Okay. Bye-bye, Serena and Graham.
See you soon.
Wave, and we'll see you later on, all right? By the way, Serena, your husband's petrified. Tell him to have a drink. All right? Right, Marty.
Ethan, Justin, how are we, son? You all right?
I'm not too bad. Shall I hit the theme tune?
If you so desire. Aye.
What about that then?
It's all good. Now, first up in the news is basically everyone was publishing their sales figures for last year this week, and there's been some really, really striking figures have been released. The Distilled Spirits Council in the US stated this week that the Irish whiskey sales were almost 6 million 9-litre cases in 2021, which is unbelievable. It recorded $1.3 billion in revenue. Now, to put that in perspective, Justin, from 2003, when they sold $74 million worth, to last year of 1.3 billion, that's an increase of 1,684%. That's pretty good goal. That's pretty damn sharp. Now
that's unbelievable. That's unbelievable.
It is unbelievable. And William Lavelle of the Irish Whisky Association has stated again that Irish whisky will overtake Scotch in the US by 2030. But when you go through the figures, Irish whisky sold 6 million cases. Scotch, in comparison, for 2003 to 2021, only grew by 10.2%. So you got 1,684% versus 10.2%. But Scotch whisky is still roughly twice the size, getting, where are we? About $2.6 billion in revenue. Now, the other thing is, there's a change in the bottling size, which will open up much more Scotch coming this way. The tariffs and stuff have ended. The Scotch isn't going anywhere. It's certainly not going anywhere. Now, I want to put this in context.
But you yourself have said there's not as much Scots on the shelves in America as you thought there was.
But that's what
there would have been.
That's what I'm saying. They're changing the bottle sizes to bring it down to 700 ml. In the US, you could only sell in 750, and lots of Scottish producers didn't actually sell in America. So it's opening up, and they expect to see an awful lot more Scotch heading towards the States. Now, Scotch whisky is twice the size of Irish whisky. American whiskies, of course, we're in America, so it's going to be more accessible to people. Well, they had 30 million 9-litre cases and a revenue of $4.6 billion. So Irish whiskey's a margin. There's loads of other figures in this that are really interesting, and if you go onto the website, it's well worth having a look at. Now, just to reiterate, 6 million cases for Irish whiskey. Tequila, 27 million cases. Brandy and cognac, 16.5 million cases. Canadian whiskey, 19.5 million cases. 10 million cases of gin. Rye whiskey, The rye whiskey is a fairly new thing. It was back in the day, it sold plenty, but it's really back on the shelves. From 2009 to 2021, it increased 1,706%. And it now sells 1.6 million cases and got flying up. Rum, 25 million cases. Vodka, 78 million cases. All spirit categories are going up. Irish is growing phenomenally quickly. But to say that it's going to catch up with Scottish whisky in a few years' time, I'm going to say that's a big ask. It's possible, very, very possible, but a big ask. Now, Irish distillers published their figures this week as well. Jameson continues to absolutely soar, selling 5.8 million cases, and this is globally. That's up 22%. Pot still, which, let's be honest, all the other producers are producing pot still, but it's still being led by Redbreast and the spot range. Redbreast sales are up 19%, and the spot range is up 7%. Now, it's great news for Irish whiskey. But if you dig into the Pernod Ricard figures, there's a couple of little things there. Jameson has 22% growth. But Ballantine's, which is also owned by Pernod Ricard, is up 29%. Chivas Regal's up 23%, and Royal Salute is up 41%. All Scotches. So, although Jameson's selling a huge amount of volume, the growth is actually in Scotch in their books. Do you understand what I mean? So, don't be writing off Scotch whisky by any stretch of the imagination. It's great figures for everybody that produces spirits, but
does Scotland have the capacity? Does it have the capacity to meet demand if demand grows with action of taxing?
Well, put it like this: there's as I said last week, there seems to be a bit of an danger of aged spirit. But Scottish whisky has proved extremely resilient for a very, very, very long time. And I think everybody is kind of thinking there's a bit of a whisky bubble being created, and we'll talk a bit more about that shortly. Scotland is probably a much better place to cope with it than probably anywhere else in the world, if I'm honest, because it has that premium reputation for single malts and stuff. So it'll be very interesting. But to say that Ireland's going to overtake Scotland in the next few years is probably a bit of an ask, but we'll see. Fingers crossed. You never know.
I feel like I need my checkbook for a story coming up tonight.
Yeah, well, not for the next one, but possibly the one after that.
We'll better say hello to some people that are saying hello. There's Prince Edward Island. Jordy Burke is checking in. Hello to you.
The spot man, the potato man.
Yeah. Frank Hearn is saying evening all. My pour tonight is a wee cast strength, silky, very pleasant. Yes,
indeed.
Patrick Mulkey saying good evening, and the usual suspects as well: Mark Kerr, Trevor Watson, Thomas Jones, Darren Barry Mulligan. Remember, if you're watching, remember to comment, like, and share. Richard McEwen's watching tonight from Macrofelt. So remember to comment, like, and share. We're on live on YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitch. And a repeat goes out on Instagram if I can get it to fit, because they've done away with Instagram TV. So
now, next up is Bushmills. I've announced that the latest in their Black Bush Stories series is coming up. This time they've partnered with Established Coffee. A masterclass is going to go out on the 3rd of March, which is International Irish Whiskey Day. Now, apparently, Mark Asbridge created a Black Bush blend coffee. Now, try saying that with a wobbly tooth, right? Black Bush blend coffee. And you're going to get a mixology lesson from Chris Power, who is from the Merchant Hotel. Now, tickets for the event are £9 in Northern Ireland and €10 in the Republic. But the kit apparently is worth £40 and €45. Goes live at 7 p.m. And it says on it there's been phenomenal demand, so they've released more tickets for it. Now, creating a whiskey flavoured coffee, We know somebody that's already done that before, do we not?
We do. We have a whiskey flavored coffee from the Bothy, and yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So we have a whiskey flavored coffee from Bothy Coffee up near with our friend William. He's not in tonight, is he? He's not in yet.
No, he's not in tonight. He's not in tonight. You know, if we were feeling generous, we could run a special about his coffee at exactly the same time as this goes out on because they're using the wonderful shit platform of Zoom. So we use a proper broadcasting platform called Be Live. So we might run his special at exactly that time on Thursday, the 3rd of March, 2022. I wonder, will we do that? I think we shall. I think the computer says yes tonight.
I'll leave that in your capable hands, buddy. But no. So if you want to get involved with that, go on, and you can go on the website, which is blackbushstories.com, isn't it? Blackbushstories.com. Yeah,
it is. It's on screen there. Yeah.
So you can bring that on and go and have a look. Mark Kerr says he doesn't like flavoured coffees. Jury's out for it. I've tasted a flavoured coffee that I quite like.
Do you know which my favourite one is, Marty?
What is it, buddy?
Affogato.
All right, good.
Just an ice cream in a coffee. I mean, anything with an ice cream in it tastes good. Anything with an ice cream.
I never understand all those coffees because it's basically how much milk and how much frothy milk you want put in your coffee, and you've got all these absolute nonsense.
Here's Kit Charles saying up the revolution. Exactly right, Kit Charles. If you're allowed revolution, you're allowed counter-revolution.
Absolutely.
Listen, James Murray Doherty must have heard his name mentioned.
Oh, I heard the word silky.
The silky and the ears pricked up.
I still want to know if James took on the guy that sent the envelope.
Oh yeah,
the envelope.
I gotta try that for badness
from last week's show. Excellent.
I know. Very good. What's next this week?
Well, Macallan have decided to release a new expression. Macallan, 81-year-old Macallan. It's called the Reach. Now, it was distilled in 1940, and this is the oldest Macallan ever released by them. So, Macallan always say they're a Highland distillery, but they're on Speyside, so they could be either or. Now, the Reach is going to be going at the very reasonable price of £92,000 a bottle. Now, $125,000 a bottle. It's done.
But you get the cast iron bronze hands with it, do you?
Yeah, you get the sculpture with it. Now, it's been done by Saskia Robinson, and it's to give a nod, apparently, to the past, the present, and the 8 decades. And that's she doesn't look the happiest girl I've ever seen in my life.
No, she looks very sultry, you know. But I'd like to get my hands on her.
Somebody's coming out with that. Now, it's 41.6%. Now, it's obviously being released now because they've kept it as long as they can possibly keep it without it going below the 40% minimum. Go back one. Did we see what it looks like? Go back another one. Tell me this. Does that not sort of look like the poor oppressed masses reaching for a bottle of Macallan? I think it looks absolutely bloody awful.
What do you think? Do you? I think it's bloody fantastic. It looks like that sculpture that they did in Northern Ireland of all the hands of the people that did the Good Friday Agreement. I think the guy's only waiting for Bill Clinton's or at the minute, and he's going to touch Hillary for it as she's Chancellor of Queen's at the minute to get the hands.
But so no, it looks to be nobody drinks Macallan these days, right? It's all collected. Nobody's drinking the stuff. And it looks like this was distilled during World War II. They make a big point of this. And it looks as if the poor oppressed are reaching up It's like a communist manifesto or something. It's pathetic. I honestly think it's horrible. I think the sculpture's nice.
There's a cheek of some of these listeners. There's Frank Hearn saying, "Are we getting a wee bottle to do a tasting? I have a wee bottle of black bottle for you, and you haven't even sent in the stamped addressed envelope to get the darn stuff. I'm having to drink it all. 96 bottles, and I'm having to drink one a night for 3 months. Do you use it all up? I haven't really. I've sent some of them out, but I will get round to sending you one. Don't worry."
Frank's saying about the tasting notes. The tasting, they give you tasting notes, right? On the nose, it's plum, leather, red currant jelly, dark chocolate. On the palate, it's toffee, licorice, wood smoke, and charred pineapple. And it finishes sweet, rich, and smoky. I'm going to say the smoke element of it, the peat element of it's going to be disappeared a fair whack out of it by this stage. I think it looks awful, if I'm totally honest. Nobody will ever drink this because it's basically you putting a vast amount of money into the thing. Nobody will drink it.
Do you know if I won the lottery tonight, I must check to see if I have. I would buy you a bottle and I would drink it in front of you. Because I think that is gorgeous. I mean, Mark Kerr, it's Macallan's equivalent of the balls, yeah. Didn't we have some other really expensive bottle? Was it Macallan as well? Was it, or was it?
All Macallan's expensive. All Macallan's unbelievably expensive. The off license is down here. I took a note to go and have a look to see what Macallan was doing, and it's all sold out all over the place. People are buying this. Anytime you ever see any of the awards categories and stuff now, Macallan's not winning any of them. It's just basically a collectible. If you go to the auction sites, all the stuff is Macallan money. All their new releases just get bought up and basically get listed on the secondary market. So the shelves of Macallan are sitting empty around here. Your noise has disappeared, son.
I'm thinking I'm having trouble bringing those pictures of the empty shelves up, but I will find them and put them on screen. Now, what else is coming up tonight?
Right, now this isn't the most riveting thing in the world. There's going to be rule changes brought in. The Alcohol and Tobacco Tax and Trade Bureau are amending their regulations on labelling and advertising. They've released all this. It's a gripping read. It covers everything from flavoured whiskey to location and definitions for stuff and what you're allowed to put on. And there's a few things. I mean, they've redefined what cask strength is going to be. Cask strength is defined as 2% lower, 2% less than the proof at dumping. So that'll come down to basically you can cut it down by a percentage. So the main sticking point in the whole thing it seems to be the state of distillation. Now it means there was loads of people wanting that the state where it was distilled has to be displayed on the label. Now it's a little bit, they sort of chickened out a little bit. The final rule further clarifies current requirements by revising the current language to provide that if the address shown in the bottled by statement includes the state in which distillation occurred, the requirement may be satisfied by including a bottled by statement. So essentially you can distill it somewhere, and as long as you have an address on it stating the state that it was distilled in, you don't have to say that it was distilled there. Now, we touched on rye whiskey a little bit earlier on. Rye is becoming much more of a thing. I've said it's growing exponentially, really. Most rye whiskey in the States is Charles is saying you need a wee touch of the old makeup on there this morning, boy.
I know. I didn't have makeup on this week. It was on TV again this week, but it's one of these shows where you don't do makeup because it would infringe the authenticity of it. But you'll see that around June, that one.
Now, what we're saying about rye whiskey, most rye whiskey in the States is distilled at AMGP or the Midwest Grain Products. huge distillery, distills pretty much all the rye whiskey and ships it out, and it's bottled under different labels. So really, it's in some ways it's a little bit.
There you go. Richard McHugh must have checked that out. The Blackbush Stories is showing now sold out.
It was all right there earlier on.
It's nice to know. Check it out if anybody else is looking at it. Let us know tonight.
But yeah, so MGP basically, I imagine there was something like 47 people put their contributions forward to this label change, saying they wanted it changed. But there was two parties objected to it, basically saying that they didn't want to change in the state of distillation. So yeah, not as transparent really as you would hope. I think it's probably to protect the people who MGP distill for, if I'm totally honest, who are many and numerous. But yeah, it's if you're interested, have a read. I'm sure producers in Ireland looking to sell in the US are probably going to have to pay a lot of attention to this document. It comes into force in March.
Excellent stuff. Now, we have a couple more stories to go before we get to our guest tonight, Serena and Graham from Clackmannanshire Whisky Festival.
Now, anybody who's watched The Apprentice, I love The Apprentice, by the way, especially the British version of it, because some of the people that come on it, you just go, oh my good God. This week they were tasked with doing the tourism stuff. Now, as me and you both know, everyone thinks they can guide until they actually have to do it, and it's not as easy a job as they think. But they went to Penderyn in Wales, and we have a couple of clips to show. These people just show them in the order.
I don't know what order they came in. Hold on to have a look, and I'll tell you what order they came in. Okay. You want the one with the van first of all. Okay, here we go.
Whatever one, doesn't matter.
So it's a one-pot system.
Sophie arms herself with facts.
You distill once as opposed to 2 to 3 times.
Ahead of the end of tour tasting.
In regards to your distillation process, you've got copper plates.
For some reason, the audio isn't coming in that. Is it coming in out for you at home? I don't think it is it?
It is.
It's metal. It's a copper still. So it's a copper pot, one system series, and then you've got the copper plates inside. Yes. So I'm correct in thinking that every single cast is from a bourbon source, which relates to the flavour into the whiskey.
I have a concern Sophie might be too educational and just read out the information, but the key thing over here is to keep it interactive and fun. It's a tasting session, it's not a lecture.
So we come up with a new word there, distillation. It gets worse. So we'll play another couple of clips.
Had been scraped. I can't remember the word you used.
So charged, scraped, toasted, and recharred.
So this is her. She's now boned up on all the facts, and now she's going to deliver it to the guests. Now, this is bad. It's not the worst I've ever heard in my life. Not the worst I've ever heard in my life.
Good afternoon.
Steph's tour team.
We've given off so much energy, so my hope is that they maintain that energy so they're not slumping off.
Up next, a lesson in whiskey.
In regards to Penderyn, the brand... Penderyn, yes. The formulation is a 2-process distillery process. It's a barrel which is made from metal. It's copper metal.
Yes.
In the first distillery process, and then secondly, it's got copper plates, a double filtered copper.
Absolutely.
Copper
Thanks,
plates.
Sophie.
Okay.
So,
I
guys,
hope everyone enjoyed that one. If we move on to our second.
Yes.
Sampler.
Absolutely.
he was wiped out, that buddy.
No, so it's a 2-spot distillation process in a copper cask from it's bloody awful. It's still not as bad as the one where I went to the tour where they told me that in the old days, they used to distill a cask of whiskey, and the first third of it was drunk, killed everybody. The second third made everybody blind, but the last third was spot on, so everybody enjoyed it. It's just nuts. It's nuts. But whiskey tourism, as we know, is a huge sex room in the market now. Everybody wants to do tourism. Yeah. What's the most visited distillery in the world?
Well, I happen to know because it's in the running order here. It must be the Smoky Moonshine.
Yeah. How many visitors do you think went there last year, Justin?
In America, I would say 1 million. No problem, no bother.
More.
2 million.
Nope.
Up. 3 million.
No, more.
4 million.
More.
5 million.
Almost 5.7 million visitors they had last year.
Holy Jesus!
It's just incredible. Incredible.
How do they all fit through that wee building?
I don't know, buddy. But you buy them. You can buy it in these little moonshine, 500 ml.
I hope there's one in your hand luggage for me.
There'll be one winging its way to you. Yeah.
All right.
I mean, so basically, moonshine. Remember, I keep talking about poaching and how I think people should be drinking poaching. It's really a super spirit. Obviously, they're drinking lots of it in the US, moonshine.
Frank says the third they used to use to embalm people.
Well, honestly, the girl that was telling me this, I couldn't keep a straight face. I thought it was hilarious. While she was telling me this, she was actually sitting on a coffin. Absolute rubbish. Right.
Well,
this is super stuff. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that's this week's news. There's loads of stuff happened this week. I can't get through it all. Ireland obviously got beat by France last week, so a lot of people will be drinking to drown their sorrows. And the rugby. But there you go. So we'll be bringing.
We're about to go live to Clackmannanshire. Here they are. They've been waiting for bated breath. It's Serena and Graham.
Serena,
how are we?
How are we, guys? Are we well?
Doing well.
Very well.
Good. And how are things in bonny Scotland at the minute? I'm still here in Texas, so the sun's shining. Surprise, surprise.
A wee bit disappointed after the rugby today. I'm not going to lie. After the Welsh took us down. We were flying high after the English victory last week, and we're hopeful. But
as long as you beat England, you're happy enough. Let's be honest.
You lose the next 5 games. That's it. But if you get that one, we're happy.
As long as you get that one through. Now, Graham, Serena, tell us, you are starting a new whiskey festival, and tell us why you decided to start one of these and where you're going to do it.
Well, I can kick off, and Serena can jump in. It was Serena that really pushed me into it. As we sort of discussed, as a good wife does. We've got a real attachment to whiskey in the area, and obviously this is a huge whiskey area in terms of heritage. And my grandfather had worked in the industry since sort of 1939. We had prominent distilleries here, right back to this early 1700s, and that kind of whiskey industries. We don't have an active distillery here anymore. We've got a huge Diageo presence, so we've got like 3 million casks stored here in Diageo. Huge presence, but we don't make it ourselves. But so that kind of whiskey heritage is kind of parked in the distance, and we are obviously the smallest local authority or land-based local authority in the country. Obviously, the islands are smaller than we are, but we're the smallest land-based local authority. So we don't tend to get big events coming to Clackmannanshire. So we wanted to do something that reinvigorated, re-energized and sort of brought back to life, if you like, the whiskey industry that existed previously, and I'd bring a good event to Clackmannanshire and bring a whiskey event to Clackmannanshire as well. We wanted to do it slightly differently. We've been to a number of whiskey events. We love going to festivals, and we love festivals where we can taste new whiskey and whatnot. But we wanted to do it slightly differently, and
we want to create an experience, didn't we?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So we sort of came up with the 3 strands. Obviously, whiskey being the most prominent strand, so a whiskey festival. But we're trying to deliver an event that, as I say, brings back the roots of that whiskey industry. First commercial whiskey distillery, or distillation, was it distillation we call it, where distillation started. This is where distillation started anyway. And so we wanted to bring that to life, and that's what we're calling our heritage strand, where we'll present a bit of a live, active kind of exhibition on our whiskey industry and try and bring that back to life. There's a lot of local people that have given a lot to the whiskey industry. We want to celebrate that, but we want to bring people from far and wide to this as well, and that's why we're delighted that you guys have picked this up, and we want to shout loud about our wee county, as we call it.
Yeah, I always say I'm on the Northampton coast. You guys are just literally a stone throw away, more or less. And that region, that sort of West Scotland, North Ireland, that's where whiskey really originates. That's the whole point. Now, you say there's a lot of people you have a big heritage in whiskey. Tell us how do you have a big whiskey heritage?
Well, we would say, and I think it's probably, I would say it's fact that our area produced the first commercial whiskey distillery or distilleries in Kenneckpans and Kilbeggie. And that's obviously where you'll remember you'll know the big brands of Haig, certainly the Steens, but Haig, produced that whiskey initially, and that is where John Jameson learned his trade as well, at that very distillery. And so a lot of people will look at Jameson and think the great Irish man that produced but he is a great Alloa man and a Clackmannanshire man, and he's buried actually just literally a mile down the road from where we're currently talking to you from. So that's how much whiskey history that we're sitting in at the moment, and that's exactly what we're trying to do.
Well, I think a lot of people don't realise that Haig and Jameson, it was a very sort of very close-knit family thing when he came over to Ireland. That same tour that I was telling you about, where the girl said that the first third killed everybody and all, she also, when you went into another part of it, she had these great heroes of Irish whiskey on the wall. But she didn't have John Jameson, the senior, the original, because he was Scottish, but we don't want anybody to know that's what she said. I said, just put your hand on your head. It's like, oh my good God, this is awful. So you have this heritage, and it has sort of disappeared, and you guys are highlighting that. Is there a chance of maybe someone coming in and opening a distillery around you guys? Is there any word of that or anything like that happening?
We've got quite a few that we would still say that are pretty local. So for instance, if you look at Deanston, which is just along the road from us, Tullibardine. There's a number of, I think you mentioned earlier in your show, talking about that kind of bubble, and we're seeing a lot pop up. They potentially could, even just along the road. One of the whiskies that distillers that we've got coming is Lindor's, which is Fife Cooper, which again is literally 30 minutes along the road. So it is, it's getting closer. And we have got them. We are surrounded, I think, by them. So I would hope that would eventually be the case. But there are a lot popping up at the minute. So I think watch this space.
There's, I've talked about it on the news there. There's all of the sort of whiskey markets are experiencing lots of growth, but Scotland's the one they always want to beat. It's like England and the rugby. Everybody wants to come for the Scots.
I was shaking my head earlier when you were talking about Irish whiskey. I was like, no chance.
Behave yourself, son. Behave yourself. I'm here with lots of American stuff because I'm here in the States. I even have this. This is labelled whiskey. And I love this here because they can get away with doing it. It says on the thing, aged for 5 seconds. So it's part of that labelling thing. Now, you have got some big name contributors or exhibitors, people coming to your show, to the festival. Who are they? Fill us in.
Well, they range from close to home all the way through Sweden to New Zealand. So you've got these guys up here just now. So we've got your Kilkerman and Lindor's, we had obviously just talked about as well.
We've got right from oh, you've got it there, perfect. So right the northwest of Scotland and Ardnamurchan at the top there. We've got Rassay just off Skye. I'm just trying to pick a few. So Kilcumin right down to Isla. And as Serena's mentioned there, we've got McMyra from Sweden.
Pronounced McMoira, I believe.
McMoira, is it?
Yeah.
And we've got Cadrona, who are New Zealand, obviously, produced. Wolfburn, very top of Scotland. Annandale, quite a new distillery, and it's great. We've got quite, I think Clydeside as well, which is a Glasgow distillery that hopefully come in that are very new distilleries, and that's what we want to try and bring along.
You do have a lot of the newer brands. I mean, Rassay's not that long ago. I've been to the Rassay distillery. I got the ferry from Sconser. It's about as remote a place as you can possibly get to. But what they're doing is fabulous. Absolutely amazing place. It's just it's great to see them getting out and about, and they've had their first release to great acclaim. They're superb. Everything they're doing, you have to take your hat off and hold. Lovely stuff.
We've just gifted 2 bottles for birthday presents, actually. Beautiful bottles.
Oh, they are absolutely stunning. A lot of people don't know that SAS Are You Tough Enough is filmed right beside it. So here you have this distillery, and then right beside it's where they basically torture celebrities by throwing them into the water. The SAS have a right bit of fun with them,
We have we've got Douglas Lang there, a big bottlers as well, and Money McDavid. Now, what we are going to do is try those producers have Old Spirit of Cambus and Carshbridge, which are our old distilleries, and we are planning to do a tasting specifically with those spirits as well. So that's going to be really exciting for us.
Yeah. Now you have. I just want to check here myself because I have it up on screen here myself. Now it's in the 2nd and the 3rd of April. Yeah. You have a charity. The charities that you're linked to, haven't you?
Yes, but part of our 3 strands is obviously the whiskey, the heritage, and of course we wanted to do something to kind of give back specifically to the area as well. And having looked at the stats and suicide within Clackmannanshire, we were really quite taken aback, along with the issues we're having with mental health as well. So we actually had popped it out on our page about looking for charity partners, and a charity called Niels Hughes Foundation approached us and said they'd be interested. So Niels Hughes Foundation are a charity that help those bereaved or affected by suicide. They do a huge amount of work, particularly in West Lothian, where they're already pretty well established. However, not long ago, they found themselves in Alloa as well. So what we're trying to do is work together with them to raise their profile and bring suicide to the forefront of Clackmannanshire, and really make people aware of what a big issue it is within the area, So, so we've got Niels Hughes coming to the event, don't we? We were slightly concerned. We were concerned when brainstorming the 3 strands how whiskey and wellness would land, as you can imagine, particularly with mental health issues and things like that. However, we've actually found that the feedback's been really positive across everybody from the exhibitors, the distillers, sponsors, people who have bought tickets have, fed back saying that how they're pleased that we're just slightly concerned about. We wanted to raise the profile, and we're concerned about how that would land, the drinking aspect with the mental health aspect. But as I say, the charity bit our hand off to work with us, and actually, as Serena's saying the feedback actually from the exhibitors that are coming are actually on board with it, which is really good.
It is. I mean, I did a thing last year because you're involved with all the whiskey stuff. I think you have to have a bit of social responsibility to it.
Absolutely,
it is a dangerous product, and if it's abused, it's the same as anything else. If it's abused, it becomes dangerous. I mean, last year, so I did the addiction counselling. So anybody, by the way, who has any problem with alcohol, if you want to get in touch with me, I'm quite happy to talk to you. And it's important that you highlight this kind of thing because it's great fun, and we sit here and chat about whiskey and how good it is and all the positive aspects of it. But it's nice that that's being taken into account in the festival too. Well done.
Absolutely. Instead of festivals sometimes charge fees for exhibitors to come along, and so this year what we've done, just especially for our first one, but with that charitable element, we're asking for a bottle from each exhibitor to donate to us, so that we can use that as a prize draw to try and raise funds as well. So it's gone really. I think we're hopefully get the balance right, and hopefully we maybe start having some conversations with people on the day as well, because it does create that opportunity to and an audience in a room to actually have that kind of conversation with people as well. So and
of course you're on the Central Belt, so it's very easy to get people to get to you by train actually on the day as well.
The venue is actually across the road from the train station in Alloa as well, so there's a direct trains from Glasgow to Alloa, and it's super easy. We've got fabulous restaurants nearby as well if you want to go for something to eat before heading home, or not head home, whichever. But
direct trains from Glasgow and Edinburgh, so you're right to highlight that. And as we said at the start, Alloa can tend to be that hidden away place. It is Central Belt, but it is small, seen as probably quite rural. Why would you go there? So this is a good reason to come, and we hope you guys might pop across as well. There's
if you're back home, there's
a couple of tickets and others if you would like to come and.
Well, I'll be back home by that stage. I come back home at the start of March, so I'll be home. You'd never know.
Never say never. The showcase event looks particularly good. Where you're featuring a lot of stuff. I mean,
it's unique.
It is.
You touched on it earlier. Explain why the Whisky Heritage Showcase tickets are unique.
So what we've got, this is the really exciting part, to be quite honest, for us. So we've obviously got canvas. This was actually from my granddad. This was one of the last casks. It was produced at Canvas Distillery. So Canvas and Carstbridge were the last distilleries to close. And there is still a fair bit of canvas spirit kicking about. There's a few casks kicking around. Carstbridge less so. And actually there was a third distillery. This is the wee secret part, because we weren't going to tell too many people, because we're going to pull this out as a surprise. But we can see it here. Within the Canvas site, there was another distillery called North of Scotland, and it's very, very exclusive, very rare, but it's still available. So we have got those three spirits in our possession. And part of that whisky showcase will be to sample those whiskies, which are very expensive whiskies, £200-300 plus a bottle. In fact, a 50-year-old in North of Scotland, which we've got hold of, can fetch up to £1,200. So we're pretty excited.
I'd need Justin's money for that kind of thing. That's
Again, it's about the experience, though. Particularly, and it's predominantly about the whiskey, but in the heritage and bringing it to the forefront.
Absolutely.
An experience as opposed to a smash and grab whiskey festival that you can jump into any major city for. So.
Well, the thing about it is ghost distilleries. I think ghost distilleries are one of the most exciting things, because there's always a diminishing amount of them. No matter what you do, there's always a diminishing amount of them. And the chance to taste 3 lost distilleries at one festival, what's not to like about that?
The little barrel that you can see in the background just there is Carstbridge. So that's an old Carstbridge.
It's gifted to us by our partner Scott, who's actually unwell this evening. Otherwise, he would have been on as well. But
has he got the COVID? Has he?
No, I think he's had it already. I think he's just he doesn't feel too bad actually. He said it's not a good look or a good sound. He said, so I'll sit this one out.
That's not so bad. But no.
So I've got to ask: Is this Graham's man cave? How come Serena's allowed in it, or is this? Or is
maybe Serena's cave, and he's might be allowed in it.
Serena's den, is it? Where is it? Because it looks like our kind of place.
I'm the interior designer. This is the she cave. No, I'm joking. No, I thought, well, you know what? If you're having your whiskies, I get to place them. So
all right.
It's all about compromise. Happy wife, happy life, they say.
Absolutely, 100%. Now, you can buy the tickets online, and there's no virtual, because a lot of that stuff went virtual. Right, it's an in-person festival. You have to come to it.
Yeah. Obviously, the reason you're probably asking that is because of the current situation, and at the moment, it is predominantly focused on the physical, and that's hopefully the way it will stay. We're really. It is our first festival, so we are looking to build a real experience here and hopefully run this over the next 2 to 3 years. But we've actually got a couple of sponsors that have now just confirmed commitment over the next 2 years as well. So this will run over the next 2 years, whatever happens. But yeah, we just want to build a cracking event.
Good. Are there limited number of tickets, or is there,
we've got... They are limited. Our Friday night, we've got 2 sessions on the Saturday, so they're 3.5-hour sessions, typically sort of normal for Whisky festivals. So we go from 12 till 3:30 in the afternoon, and then we go from 5 till 8:30. The 5 till 8:30 is almost sold out. The daytime session is close to that as well. We've got a Sunday session as well, which we're going to slightly deliver differently from the other 2 sessions as well. So, no, in terms of first year, we're absolutely delighted with ticket sales. We're hopefully aiming to have that sort of 250 to 300 per session.
Excellent.
And it's going pretty well at the minute.
Yeah, excellent. Now, what's your 2 favourite tipples? I know you probably don't want me to commit to this, but
well, you know what, Serena's sold on tonight actually, because we thought when in Rome. We'd celebrate the great man himself, but so I think Serena's pretty sold on that tonight.
Sold on Jameson, but however, I do like a Deanston.
I've had a few. The thing is, there's all these new distilleries pop up, and it's like, oh my god, I'll try and get these. And everything sells out. You start off with, but I've had a couple of Deanstons, and they're superb. What about you, Graham?
I'm a space side. I've always been space side, though now I'm getting a range, and even the peated ones I'm enjoying. I've always been a Balvenie. Yeah, Balvenie's my favourite. I'm a sweet tooth as well, so the Caribbean cask 14 is just incredible.
Yeah. I'm a Balvenie 12. I don't like it just as sweet. It's fabulous stuff.
That's up there just now. It's beautiful.
I'm actually on a bit of an American journey over here because I've never been a huge bourbon fan, because I think the bourbons we tend to be far too sweet for me, and they're sort of a bit cheap and nasty. But I'm actually trying this. This is a port cast finished bourbon, which is a bit of a strange one. It's actually really quite pleasant, So you have 250 per session. You've 3 sessions plus the special tasting one. You have lots and lots of big contributors coming. Diageo, etc. And are they coming now? When they go to the event, are you getting samples off each of the exhibitors? Is that how it's going to work? The same as sort of how most of these work.
Yeah, very similar. As we say, the festival element will be quite similar. We do want to try and break, so that the reason for having the heritage exhibition is to help break it up as well, break that festival up, so it's not, as you go to a festival, it can be quite intense, and an hour into the festival you can be quite well on.
Yes, you can be very intense after an hour in a festival.
This gives them the opportunity to tell the story about what they're actually drinking and what why they're there, in a sense.
Yeah, and why here.
We have got other exhibitors as well. So first of all, I think it is come sample. And it will be very, very similar to events, in the sense of you come, you taste, you move on to the next one, and you decide what you like, and hopefully purchase. We'll have a shop on site where you can purchase, and our exhibitors will be able to sell as well. So that will be facilitated as kind of normal. We've got a range of other exhibitors as well. So we've got what we're calling our sampling, as you would normally have, and our non-sampling as well. So we've got a few other local whiskey enthusiasts that make lamps out of whiskey bottles.
I do like them. I do like them.
Yeah, and we've got a couple other sort of retail-focused businesses, but focused on whiskey that do pictures, bespoke pictures, and other products and things like that as well. So we have got other exhibitors that are going to be there that, as I say, are non-sampling, that will help sort of break up the event a little bit as well. And as I say, we keep referring to that word event. It is very much an event that we're trying to create here in terms of atmosphere, in terms of everything, rather than just come drink. Although there'll be plenty of that.
There'll also be a bar, and we're one of our sponsors. We've got Monterey Jacks coming as well, who they approached us to come along and sample some of their new boar burgers, boar hot dogs. So
Mark Kerr wants to know, can I get deep fried haggis? Actually,
a deep from the Mars bar as well. I don't know if that's the thing, actually, to be fair, but
that's heart attack inducing stuff.
Yeah,
I've tried them before. What else is there to do around there? I mean, at Gartbourne Dam, the Tower, and if you want to bring the kids World as well, yeah.
Yeah,
there's plenty to do. We've actually, one of our sponsors that we've just linked up with are Alloa First, and we're just about to start who support all the local businesses in the area, and pull all those businesses together. So the part of that sponsorship is going to actually, in terms of the promotion over the next month now, in the lead up to the event, is going to actually bring that all to life in terms of what to do. In terms of restaurants, other things that you can do. Our whiskey, we're talking about our whiskey heritage. We've got a huge history and heritage out with that industry.
Yeah.
Our brewing industry. We've got the glassworks that contributed to the whiskey industry as well. The oldest glassworks around. So there's a huge amount to do, and it's a wee county. We keep saying that, 51,000 population. But it's a beautiful place. We've got the Opal Hills.
I was going to say, if you're brave enough, you come along, have your drinks, head over to Inglewood House for the night for a sleep, and then walk off the hangover up to up the Opal Hills. But that's only if you're brave. I've done that a couple of times. Wasn't it pretty? Not pretty.
It's a beautiful part of the world. It really is. I've been over that Alloa direction a few times, and it's a gorgeous place. But then Scotland's gorgeous in and of itself. Pretty much everywhere in Scotland's gorgeous. I keep telling everybody.
Well, I was born and bred in Edinburgh, and when I came through here, I used to always say, nothing beats Edinburgh. I was kind of by the sea, Lothian way, for a while, and I used to say, I always know when I'm home when I see the sea, but now it's when I see the hills, that's when I know I'm home. It's just stunning through here.
It's a stunning little place. Now, what's your two backgrounds, by the way? Were you whiskey people, or have you worked in the whiskey industries?
No, not at all. As I said, my attachment really came from my granddad that worked in this industry locally. To be honest, we probably first got the taste for it at the same time, because we went to, I don't even know how long ago this was, now about 13 years ago, but we got the taste for it. We went to the Edinburgh, I think it was a whiskey experience or something like that, and we got, we started to tune into different things. We got the flavour experience and all the rest of it. Yeah. And ever since then, I've just been completely hooked on it. I did drink it, I did taste it, and was aware of Scotch whisky in the industry. But after that was it, and the collection started thereafter that. And it was really that, to be honest. Had we not done that, we probably would not be doing this, because I started to probably get a little bit more into it as well, in the taste and the sampling, and then we sort of came up with the idea. Had a think about this. I'd love to do something like this, and it was actually Serena just said, "Well, what do you do it? Go ahead and do it." And I was like, It's not something. Serena's delivered events for other businesses and corporate companies previously, but it's not been my bag. So it's between myself, Scott, who's not here, who brings a huge amount to this as well. Between the three of us, we've got different experiences. My background was actually sport, so I worked with Scottish Rugby for a while.
So you're really disappointed today then?
Exactly, that's why I mentioned it twice already.
I mentioned it a third time. Justin and I went to Islay one day when Ireland were playing Scotland, and Ireland were winning, and we were in a pub in Port Ellen, and we were the only Irish people there. There was about 6 or 7 of us, and we were all cheering away. And at half time, Ireland were in front, and some guy came up onto the jukebox and put "Flower of Scotland" on 12 times in a row. I thought we were going to get our head kicked in that day. It was dead fun. Now, a few other quick things just about the event. The times it starts at, you mentioned it earlier on.
12 o'clock. So the first session is the Saturday session, so it kicks off at 12 noon. 12 noon till 3:30. So each session is 3.5 hours. So
you'll see from the website that the Clackmannanshire exclusive masterclass runs from 3 o'clock to 5. So as the hall's kind of changing over within that time, they'll be taking them through an experience like no other in those 2 hours.
So people that have come at the first session can join that session, and people that are coming to the next session can join that session as well. So it's a bit of a double header. So we'll need to manage that process and volumes. But no, it's going to be.
We're also running masterclasses throughout the festival sessions as well, but it's just not the Clackmannanshire exclusive.
So the exclusive bottlings, canvas and stuff, that is only at the masterclass in between.
That's right.
Yeah, that's. You going to say something there, Justin?
I was sounds like you've well thought out. You've run these events before, so I mean it's not starting on a Friday afternoon when people have to skip off out of work and stuff like that. There, so
well, we did think that and some people probably would like that type of thing. So it is trying to get that balance of it. We've got that Sunday afternoon session as well, which will appeal probably to looks like appealing to a different audience, which we thought as well. So yeah.
I see it's the Edinburgh Whisky Academy that's doing the masterclass. I wonder, is it the whisky minister himself? Is it Vic Cameron by any chance coming down there?
We don't know who's going to be actually delivering that, but we've actually, in terms of building on that, we've now got probably a core between all the heritage stuff that we've been jabbing away at to get people interested. We've had people from the industry, like we've got a gentleman who's going to be involved that's been just retired from Diageo after 40 years and just full of information. So we're going to extract that information. We've got somebody that's actually helping us produce a timeline from that's early 1700s right through, and that's brilliant.
People volunteering, people who want to achieve the same thing as we do. It's absolutely amazing. Artifacts, clippings, cuttings. It's going to be wonderful.
Well, the thing about it is whiskey does something that other spirits just don't. There's maybe possibly rum and possibly a little bit of brandy, but whiskey does this magical thing where it takes a sort of place and a name, and people have much more of an affinity to like a whiskey from Scotland, and it's named after their hometown, than they do to really any other spirit. And you get that heritage and that industrial heritage and the history and the connections, between the likes of Jameson and you guys. It's a fantastic thing. It's fantastic.
Well, that's what you hit the nail on the head. And to be honest, we've been trying to drive this out through social media, and it's probably the first time it's been done in this way for quite some time. So I know a number of people that have tried to really stoke that history before. And Serena's a social media guru, and she's been planting these things in some of the local, even within our locale Facebook kind of groups, and saying, right, who are the people in here? Name some people that are building the casks here, the coopers, and it's really getting people excited. And you can just see the amount of history and heritage and the investment of people and their families in this area, and it's just. You can see that exactly what you're saying there. You can see that the attachment people have to that particular. Even within here, where there was 3 distilleries in a small area, Canvas, they had that really tight knit community, and Cashbridge was the same. And it shows you.
Looking at the photos, the children had
Christmas
parties within it. It was wonderful. We had to look into Tilbody Heritage Centre the other day, and Oh, the things we came across, it was just...
Sure.
Oh.
I'm sure it was almost like you support your local football team. You know, there's a rivalry between this one and this one.
Exactly what it was like.
Exactly.
But actually, talking about Coopers, sorry, you've just reminded me. We'll actually have industry demonstrations. We've got a couple of friends, well, somebody from Diageo coming across to.
So we've obviously got, and the old Canvas Distillery site now is, I think it is could be corrected here, the biggest cooperage in Europe. And we have a couple of coopers that are going to be coming along and actually building a cask during the event. So we wanted that noise within the room as well.
So you really are embracing the industrial heritage there. A lot more than the likes of the whiskey socials, not to cast aspersions on the whiskey socials, but they're very much about just going out and having a drink and sampling loads of stuff. But you're really wanting to focus on the area and the people and the industries in the area.
Well, that's the thing, and I think it's something around 30,000 casks a month that they produce, and even people here don't realise that. It's down the road there. It's literally, I could walk down there just now in about 10 minutes, but people don't even realise that that's what's happening in the area, and they know it's there, but they don't really know the scale and the 3 million casks that are stored just literally that 5 minutes down that direction. People don't realise that, and so even the history and heritage is parked, but even what exists now through that mass Diageo presence is unknown as well. We've got down in Menstrie the archive, which is arguably the richest, most hard to get into whiskey museum in the world. David Beckham managed to get in there about, 10 years ago or something like that, when he was
David Beckham was on there the other day. He was advertising him and Victoria eating haggis and Burns night and all. Stuffing their faces with haggis.
Hague Club.
So,
all right.
Now, just to finish up, tickets available on the website. They're still available. All the sessions are still available. There's still tickets for all the sessions.
The Saturday evening session is close to capacity now. So, want to get that message out as well. Okay. So, but the tickets for all sessions at the moment are still available, and
excellent stuff.
Get them on the website.
Brilliant, Serena, Graham, absolute pleasure to talk to you.
Thank you so much for having us.
Stay in touch and send us pictures. Send us everything about the stuff, and we'll keep everybody up to date. And we will try our best to see if we can touch base with you.
Do try and come along if you can. I've got a spare room.
There's plenty of whiskey here as well.
Whiskey in a spare room. You're fine.
Excellent stuff, guys. Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure.
Great pleasure.
Yes, it's been a great. Thanks for coming on live. It always helps. Now, remember to comment, like, and share. We're live on Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, and Twitch. If you ask your smart speaker to play Irish Whiskey Review Podcast, you'll hear Serena and Graham go through the ropes again. It's a cut down version of it.
Just notice that Dirk over in the States has listed it on the Scotch World Events calendar now, so it's up on
amazing.
It's up on
there. You go.
People in the US will be able to see it as well. So,
excellent stuff. Thank you very much. Good night, everybody.
Take care, guys. All the best.